I would long for a dialogue between this body and that one. Just let me be naive and say that a type of celebration that I long for is the conversation between the Buddha and Christ. They are certainly here, certainly present. I will modify my definition of them so that I can explore true presence, radical, adequate presence. I will enter precise qualities of these two worlds that I wish to dialogue. There is absolutely nothing stopping me from entering this complete, total, final, absolute dialogue. There is nothing in time and space that stops me from entering the absolute dialogue that I long for. If, at a cosmic scale, I long for the dialogue between the Buddha and Christ, there is nothing stopping me other than ignorant beliefs, ignorant forms of creation. There is nothing stopping me phenomenologically to consider absolutely everything that is the phenomena of Christ in my being and what is the phenomena of the Buddha, what are all the types of experience that have shaped for me a notion of the Buddha or Christ. And thus I can reach integrity in my being and enter all forms of dialogue that I long for. Not only there is nothing stopping me, but there is this boiling desire everywhere in every little bit of being for this to happen. It's just offering their flesh of beauty, everything around, for it to happen. Everything around is offering its flesh of beauty for this fulfillment of being to happen. If I say to myself, let us open the complete field of existence where all beings in all time and space are seeing clearly one another, then what next? What I would choose is to find within the body of my field two logics of being. One, the logic of the Christ, and one, the logic of the Buddha. I will advance in the dialogue between the Christ and the Buddha like this. The webs of diamond clarity and all the spines of prayer, all the spines of golden prayer. Let us walk this field of contemplation. Each and every configuration of being needs to be translated in this dialogue. What would it be to integrate in my flesh these two forms of being? If I wanted to speak about Christ, I would certainly speak about bread, about the sun, about this color of love. If I wanted to speak about the Buddha, I would speak about omniscience. I would speak about absolute transparency. I would speak about absolute intelligence. Let's consider this terrain of absolute madness. For this dialogue to become possible, you need to produce a certain body, two different logics of body to be simultaneously in any form of circumstance. To be able to produce such a dialogue, you need to produce two distinct bodies. So then study this exact aesthetic, the elegance of such a function, the complete field of these golden prayers, the garlands of clarity, these purified skulls. If I wanted this true cosmic dialogue, how would I attain it? What is it to be in the posture of this? What is it to stand with the sacrifice, the necessary golden substance of love? Make chains a form of flight. Turn blindness into wings. Take the flesh of blindness and morph it into wings. Stand in the posture of the golden spine of sacrifice. Dig deeper into the density of this soil with your golden roots. Give the sun the necessary hands for this vast love-making. Walk in this precise logic. Consider your spine as a whipstalk, allowing the divine to enter with its hand deep into the ground. Understand all of the moments of your life in this exact model. Now move into the fucking capacity of the Buddha to see everything, to dissolve everything. So I should be able to speak very clearly the nature of the process today. I started by trying to go as far as I can into the realm of possibility, and I wanted to be in a dimension where all possible forms of being, moments of being in all time and space, have perfect visibility over one another. Standing in such a dimension, considering that every kind of being is right now able to see me, what would I live? What would I long for? What would I desire? What would I establish as experience? Thus, I wanted to step into the most extraordinary form of celebration that I long for, and thus I have explored my domains of being, and thus I have found these two realms that I love and I long for, which is the realm of the nature of the Buddha and the realm of the nature of Christ. And I wanted to establish a dialogue or a sort of game or a play between these two intelligences in my own being. I needed to step into phenomenological clarity, meaning I shall take responsibility over the phenomena that I can configure in my field of existence. I needed to take a radical attitude against this belief in the existence of themselves, of phenomena, of objects, of persons. I first need to take a stance against the existence in himself of the Buddha or the Christ, because I need first clarity on my own field of existence and how such a conception is configured in me in all the history of my existence and all that I am aware of. So I use this discipline to enter the dialogue that I need to enter. I try to produce the adequate experiential equation that would allow me to live consistently in such a configuration of experience. You just need to find one ground of purpose. Just one fucking ground of purpose. Okay, I need to create a very simple sketch, a very simple logical spine of a certain narrative posture so that I can produce the morphology of a body to be able to translate any possible moment in a certain stance. So, I will have a body that unites this kind of morphology with this kind of morphology. The function of this golden spine is to allow the sun to penetrate the ground with its hands. The function of this aesthetics is to extract the essences of the night, these diamonds of dew, these diamonds of clarity. Produce the simple equation that would be integrated with an imagination of a certain body that integrates the two logics. The webs of this perfectly clarified substance of mind can spread across all constellations of possibility. I can stand firmly anchored into the ground of this field of existence. I can attain the patience of this golden spine of function. Okay, now the ground is quite clear to me. The real nature of the purpose I have in this process is I can be fully responsible with all the fields of experience that I am aware of. If I say the Buddha, if I say the Christ, I can become fully responsible for all the processes that form these conceptions in me, all the accumulations of patterns of experience, all the genesis of such forms of experience in me. Thus, I know I am perfectly able to enter the realm of this absolute, complete, total dialogue. Every aspect of my being is longing for this. Every aspect of being is giving its flesh and its blood for this. So then I could have a very simple, like a sort of naive theatrical instantiation of the dialogue between the Buddha and Christ. Okay, if I would try to really speak what the Buddha would say to Jesus, it would be, why didn't you teach them how to see through the ignorance of this realm? Why didn't you teach them how to see through illusion, through illusory forms? And then Jesus would maybe say something like, they needed to share their energy into creating this playground, this realm of existence. Yeah, but why? Couldn't they just find their spirit realms and engage higher forms of playgrounds? If they wouldn't have entered the flesh of this ignorance, yes, this limited form of love, this ignorant and blind form of love, they wouldn't have achieved this shape of civilization. They wouldn't have produced a model of omniscience that is immediately available to anyone. They wouldn't have produced a model of culture that can become magical and transformative and embodied just like a computer is. Yeah, but there is a danger of humans being blinded by the morphology of this exact culture and not staying connected with all realms of possible logics. Yeah, this is why your work is so important. I guess my question is actually, why can't I make it real? I somehow am able to make it real in my solitude. I might be able to taste it, to withdraw myself into solitude and make this realm of existence real. And maybe if I struggle and fight a lot, I would be able to produce some form of collective that can engage coherently such a realm of existence. Which has happened. But what seems to be related to the intelligence of Christ, paradoxically, is this arrival of technology, science, artificial intelligence, which is somehow this capacity for sacrifice, this capacity to reduce oneself so as to be able to simplify one's own realization so as to be able to share it. This is what science did to produce this language of exact sharing of insight. Quite miraculous in a way and deeply related to a certain type of love. So, to achieve the possibility of such a realm, I need the Buddha, I need the Buddhist tradition to conceive of such possibility. But then I need the love of Christ to scale it in the world, to make it possible in the world. Fuck you with this stupid simple equation. But yeah, for me it's like two worlds that kind of, I would like them to be united. But it's also this thing of Buddha and Christ. Like,
there are lots of books written about the two of them. Yes.
I have sometimes this very simple practice in which I think of a certain moment in the past, which is maybe significant in a certain way, and then I kind of try to reconfigure what was my state and to remember as much, like not the imagination, but the configuration of my soul and my mind at that point, to feel again all that I was feeling. And when I do this and enter a bit into it, it's like astonishing and overwhelming and like extraordinary to understand that it was a completely different world, such a vastly different world in this other moment. And it's a challenge for me, like it's a sort of personal purpose that I have to be able to re-access any of them, like to travel through them freely. And it feels really immense as a perspective.
Can you repeat what is
Christ and like the design of the prayers and everything there. So I have this dimension in me. Or when I was in the library in Paris and I was like amazed by these enormous Buddhist scriptures, it was like, so I have these dimensions in me. So how would it be if we could, like, I could share them, like I could put them here together, and each one of us would have the same kind of richness in themselves, and put them together like a feast. How would we have such a feast? In the discussion between Christ and Buddha, and I felt like in their teaching, in their function in the world, they had like complementary or like opposite architecture of mission in a way. And I think it really depends also the culture in which they were born. Like India at that age was like highly expansive cultural place, and he was like the prince and the son of a king, unlike Jesus, surrounded by I don't know, shepherds or fishermen, or, so it was like a very different context and different design of mission. Yeah. So in my conversation, like it started with the Buddha asking the Christ, okay, why didn't you, in your teaching, why didn't you clarify for them or with them clearly about the nature of this reality? So, like Christ didn't emphasize, or our tradition didn't emphasize the illusory nature of reality. So this is kind of how it starts, and then, I don't know, in some ways it reaches the fact that actually the result, because like Christianity produced this involvement, serious involvement in this material life, and actually historically it produced the model of scientific thought or pursuit or system, which is actually something quite miraculous, and we can speak more about it, but in a way it is a product of the Christian type of, or monotheistic or something.
In the way, well, first of all, not all science, right? Because a lot of science comes from non-Abrahamic.
No, I'm speaking about this more like the academic type of like union of all knowledge. It's like you have the discipline to, if you discover something, you need to put it in a language that all of them can access it and have the same result. Okay. This is like a really crucial discipline that really allowed for our civilization to develop in this way, which may be judged like imbalanced or abusive or with a lot of, I don't know, type of sacrifice. Like you could consider that all the people that have dedicated themselves to industrial work or even scientific, or they kind of sacrifice the fullness of their spiritual accomplishment. So it's like a sort of sacrifice for the others. But actually we reach a point in which artificial intelligence becomes possible, and this is a totally different kind of realization. If I compare it to like some advanced Buddhist monasteries and universities in which you could say that they were reaching all of these advanced practices and higher realms of attainment, that is a different model. So actually what I see is this, as you said, this generosity of technology, and I think AI, hopefully, will be, for example, like the practical consequence would be, I wish to live in a heavenly realm. So it's like this theological desire. I want to be with the truths of God. I want to be in poetry. I want to be in all of the most refined contemplations. And we have this richness of substances all around. And there was this like, I don't know, vision of using AI. For example, you would re-signify any chemical element. So then you would have the technology to look at this exact place, and this exact place would provide you like an immense literature of the exact truths that you want to contemplate. You replace, for example, hydrogen with the truth of love, or you replace carbon with concentration, or so then you would have like capacities to enter in the material realm as if it were like a theological kingdom. So that would not need like immense like years of meditation in a Buddhist monastery. You would have it as a common giving for everyone,